Alright, exterior painting applying techniques. Make sure the paint is thoroughly mixed, even if your dealer has mixed it mechanically. But pour some of the separate cans, stir the paint with the left and the wood, and stick with it until the pigment is made with the pour of the paint and the separate can back into the original container. Stir it until the mixture is uniform. As a final insurance, pour the paint back for a few times from one can to the other. Work out the one can, which should be about half full. To apply paint, immerse the paintbrush about 1/3, 1/2 its bristles in length of the paint with a tap of the brush gently on both sides of the paint before lifting it out. Eliminate excessive paint that would run down the handle. On lap siding paint underneath the projections first. Make sure they are completely covered. Skips can evenly be seen from the ground. Runs the brush tip against the projections about 5 boards at a time. Check for the runs that they may have leaked down the surface of the siding directly under the projections. Next, paint the surface of the siding, spreading the paint out over the working end of the wood long enough back and forth the strokes. If the wood is large enough, short, more forest diagonal strokes may also be necessary. For the final strokes, however, they must always be horizontal surface. To cover the nail holes, you may have to slap the brush smartly against the hole, wiping away excess paint within the next stroke. Once courses all siding and started, should be finished, and prolonged interruption will be resolved with a lap marking of the paint be assumed. The same exemption will be using latex paint, which must be less apt to show the lap mark. If you still have best practice policy, however, to continue course till the end of it has been reached, no other reason than to develop good professional habits. When painting exterior doors and windows, follow the same sequence given in page 331. The only exemption in the casement windows on the paint the top side, bottom edges first. This finishing of the mullions, rails, frames, casting, and sills, metal shield can be used to keep the paint off the glass. If you should paint the glass, remember remove it once with the cloth damped on the proper paint solvent. Should you miss a few spots, no harm done. That easily can be scraped off with a razor blade after the paint is dry. Incidentally, with the door swing, add paint to the lock edge of the exterior paint. If the swing of the paint with a hinge edge roller may be used to apply paint to a brick, concrete, cylindrical box stucco may be used to hold the paint porch steps and patios. While using roller paint edge first with the brushes. Use the roller. Be sure to keep the overlap of the edge of the narrow possible. Roller takes noticeable difference for the brush marks roll on the paint with light even strokes with the different directions. If the front door has natural wood, look for the has been protected sparse varnish. This is especially high-grade varnish for the outdoor use. Refinish such doors lightly with a fine sandpaper. Wipe off dust with cloth slightly damp with paint thinner. Apply varnish long enough flowing the brush strokes. Refinishing shingles and shakes. Shingles are already painted, have no choice but to paint them again. If they're only stained, you can refinish the stain or preservative stain. The difference for the paint amount of the pigment of the paint with the opaque with the hides the wood surface beneath it. Stain has enough pigment to the color of the wood, but not to hide a grain and preservative clear. Preservative is clear. Refinish shingles, shakes, follows for the same procedures as any wooden surface. Remove all loose materials, mildew present. Treat with a commercial mildew remover. Most cedar shingles and hand split shake roofs are left untreated to give it a long satisfactory service. If you want to undertake color treatment of the cedar roof, use light-bodied stain. When a special circumstance may preservative treatment is advisable, use 5 to 10% pentachlorophenol solution of peneal myrocrolactate. These chemicals are highly toxic wood, attacking bacteria and applying them to avoid contact with solutions. Protect the nearby lawns and shrubs. Shingles sidings can also be painted. However, it's best to check the bleeding of some stains at a time. Penetrate the paint and cause discoloration. Paint a few shingles on an inconspicuous place. Wait a few weeks. If bleeding occurs, stick to staining. If it doesn't, it's safe to paint. Ladder safety. To paint high places, you need an extension ladder, but with care. Before climbing, making a ladder firm-footed, stand on the bottom, run the press foot well into the ground. Smooth the surface. The safety tread if the ground is muddy. Best rest of the ladder feet on the wide plank. Always climb the face of the ladder. Never go higher than the third rung from the top. Do not lean out of the reach in comfortable distance, right or left. Keeping both feet solidly on the ladder. Need both hands free to lock yourself in the ladder, slipping one leg over the rung, holding on the rung below with the heel of your shoe. High level is more convenient to paint above the ladder. You can reach them both ways. Never place the ladder against a window sash or in front of an unlocked door. Wallpapering. Hang wallpaper, you need the following items. Smooth brush, a smoothing for the paper of the wall. Good brush is firm yet soft bristles with non-scratch paper. Plumb line and chalk. Length of the string of the sometimes kind of weight on one end of the fine colored chalk and coat the string. Shears, a cutting and trimming tool. Paper, seam roller, pressing seams. Sponge bowl, wiping down strips. Wheel knife, trimming knife for trimming in the baseboards and around the windows. Wallpaper paste attached the paper to the walls. Wall size preparing walls before papering. Paste bucket, brush, applying wall size wallpaper paste. Tie a string around the top, across the top of the bucket to rest the brush on where when it's not in use. Yardstick for measure strips. Patching, plaster, wall scraper for repairing cracks in wall ceiling. Sandpaper, sanding, patching wall areas. Straight edge guide for trimming the selvage. Step ladder for reaching the ceiling other than the high areas. Soft rags. Reaching ceiling other high areas. Soft rags. Cleaning and removing excessive paste. Paste table. If you don't buy or rent a professional folding paste table, the kitchen table, or 2 card tables side by side will work. You can use the piece of plywood set and a pair of sawhorses. Surface of the brown paper, do not use newspaper or ink, will rub off and soil work. So you have your scraper, paintbrush, smoothing brush, stem, seam roller, plumb line, trimming knife, and pasting table. Pre-pasted wallpaper. Several types of wallpaper wall coverings come with pre-posted. Most of them are pre-trimmed. If they don't have the cut salvage of each strip, if the paper is not pre-trimmed, it must be cut and match the same unpasted paper. On page 343. To ready the wall cover, they hang in the immerse of the tray with the water for the time specified. The manufacturer will lift down the wall of the mush tray with the pre-posted wallpaper is folded the shape of the pre-scored heavily waxed cardboard. Bathtub, kitchen sink will also work. Hanging the techniques pre-posted coverings are the same as the regular unpasted papers. Smooth the paper around the wall with a brush. Pay particular attention to seams to be sure they adhere firmly. Type of modern wallpaper. You can buy wallpapers today with a washable, pre-paste, scuff-resistant, pre-treated, trimmed, even strippable. Features allow easy removal of the paper should you decide to change at a later date. Many new wallpapers are not made of paper, however, they're made of vinyl, metallic wool, burlap, fabric, cork, even wood. In fact, there are so many modern wallpapers are paperless. Most manufacturers now refer to the product as wall covering rather than wallpaper. Vinyl face wall coverings, wall text, Vanish and text are the most popular. They are surface vinyl printing with vinyl inks made with a washable, resistant, fading, the virtually impervious to household stains, backing, clothing, and a paper. Although clothing backing is strong and somewhat more expensive. Some vinyl coverings are colored, textured, resemble wood paneling. Hand-woven grass cloth, burlap, or other high-style decorated materials for bathroom powder room. You can use the wall coverings with a metallic value face that will withstand most conditions. Most vinyl wall coverings, like wallpaper, come in rolls of 27-inch wide. However, the heavier the better. The grade vinyl will cover available in 54-inch widths. They're more difficult to handle and generally require an assistant to help the application. The chief advantage of the few seamers are needed to be visible. With another advantage of the vinyl wall coverings is that they are much easier to remove than paper decorating time. They may be pulled off the wall without soaking and scraping and streaming. Each sheet will come off a single piece as grasp the corner or pull. Second important advantage of vinyls, especially heavy duty 54-inch wide material, will hide cracks in the walls, render invisible any cracks the more may develop later. When selecting wall coverings, remember the pattern wallpaper. Other wall covering can be used after the appearance of the room. For example, the room with low ceiling can be made appearing higher using a wallpaper with strong vertical pattern. A pattern with a horizontal pattern can be used to make a narrow room appear wider. Light colors make rooms appear larger, and dark colors make walls appear closer to the room smaller. Selecting adhesives, many vinyl wall coverings as well as conventional wallpapers are available in pasted form. Lightweight vinyl wall coverings can be hung ordinary wallpaper paste, but the best use of adhesives designed especially for the vinyl, essentially when hanging heavier grades of vinyl wall coverings. These adhesives are strong, more resistant to mildew. How many rolls? If calculating how many wallpaper covering will require, remember that the roll is standard use of measuring wall coverings industry. With a material in a single, double, or triple roll, each roll contains approximately 36 square feet. A double roll 72 square feet. A triple roll 108 square feet. And hanging the material over the wall with sometimes some ways because of the trimming and matching cutting strip of size. Some figures were getting only about 330 square feet with the material out of each roll. Determine the number of rolls needed for the given room. Measure the room parameters over the length and width of the ignore the windows, doors at this time. For example, a 10 by 12 foot room would have a parameter of 44 feet. You get the square feet over the wall space, multiply the parameter by the height. If the walls are 8 feet high in the room, example of 352 square feet of wall space, ignore the windows and doors. Dividing 30 by approximately the number using square feet in the roll, it would take roughly 12 rolls over the room. From deduct one roll for every 2 average size openings, windows, doors, and fireplaces. Supposing the room is example the total 4 such openings, you will deduct 2 rolls, and with a total of 10 rolls needed for the job of the table to the right will help you calculate the number of rolls needed for the most average size rooms. Borders. The papering of the room, you want to add a border along the top of the wall of the decoration. Borders are also linear yard, but not over the roll. They could come in various width applications between the ceiling and the wall. Determine how much border material you need. The distance around the room, the feet, with them divided by 3 to get the number of the yards required. Ceilings, to estimate the amount of paper needed to cover the ceiling, multiply it by the width of the length and divide by 30. Give the number of single rolls required. Wallpapering, preparing walls for papering. You can cut paper over old paper, provided it still adheres tightly. If loose spots, remove the loose parts, sand, torn edges, large area looser than other, more 2 layers should all of they be removed. Never hang vinyl wall covering over old paper. If it will pull the paper off when it dries. Old paper can be used easily. Remove streaming equipment, in which usually rent locally. Soaking the sponge on solution water. Remove the concentrate. All works, but it takes longer. Remove loose and covering with scraper. Before new plasters walls are papered, they must be thoroughly cured and coated with the commercial wall sizing available. Wallpaper store. Treat hot spots recognizable with a dull appearance as package instructions specify. Other unpapered walls should be treated as described on page 322, and then prepare a single coat sizing. Planning the work. The usual place to put the first strip of the wallpaper is the left or the right over the doorway, next to the window, over the end of the wall, over the working toward the longest unbroken wall area with large varied finite design. However, usually desirable to decorate a center interest over the fireplace from the directly above the sofa. In such case, the center of the area is starting point. When cutting strips wall covering, make the first piece of 4 to 6 inches longer than the height of the room. Hold the cut piece over the wall to ensure the proper length will give you the pleasing pattern replacement. Then lay with the cut piece pattern side up with the pacing table. Cut with the second piece the pattern length of the first, and hold it up in the wall to check with the length of the effect again. Continue until you have cut enough pieces to cover the entire wall. There are 2 ways of joining seaming hanging paper butt overlap. By the butt method, in which the edges are fit tightly against the other, each of the no overlap, is the one preferred by professionals. If the paper you buy is not pre-trimmed, the salvage undecorated border must be cut off both edges of the roll. Most of the wallpaper is sold today and pre-trimmed by manufacturer. Matching, aligning, pasting. Walls and ceilings are often not exactly square. To be sure the paper hangs straight, you must establish true vertical plumb line. To do this, hang the weight at the end of the string and the tack of the string at the end of the top of the wall, so that it's close to the starting of the door or the window or the width of the wall, the covering the roll. And the weight hangs just above the floor. Chalk the strings, hold it near the weight, snap it against the wall, and do this each new wall is begun. Stack cut sections unpasted wall face down on pasting table. Apply paste with clean pasting brush for each piece just before hanging. Spread paste evenly, completely on pasted spots will blister. Start working from the top of the strip at the center. Leave an inch too unpasted for the top edge. Apply a heavy coating of the paste of both edges. Fold the top half over itself. Pass the side of paste to the bottom half, working from the center. Hanging, trimming, and turning corners. Place each strip on the high wall with about 2-inch overlap. Ceiling line up with plumb line. Previous space with a stroke. Several times smooth with a brush for the whole strip in place. The opening line up lower folded portion of smooth onto wall. Top of the bottom entire piece in place. The line smooth again. The bottom brush center toward the edge of the room. Move air pockets. Brush paper firmly in the casing joint trim as if baseboard and ceiling. Hanging paper from the corner brush overlap in the corner of adjoining the wall with the overcovered final strip. Corners are seldom when approaching mirror distance of the last rung of the corner to the ceiling baseboard. Add 1/2 inch to the wider measurement. Cut the full length strip to the width and hang as usual, brushing tightly in the corner. Strip should never overlap 1/2 inch of the adjoining wall. Fireplace windows and doors. Some mismatching inevitable to color with the corners around fireplace windows and doors were the two problems. To keep the pattern continuous, edge pattern for the wallpaper extended beyond the vertical line they established by the window of the door frame. Where the last strip falls short a few inches, almost a full width, cut the full length strip that extended at least an inch beyond the frame and the hanging of the ceiling of the baseboard. Snip it with the top of the door, over the top of the bottom of the window so that it lay flat against the wall. Trim off any surface of the casing. If you pick, say, with the door to mismatch points, select the pattern over the door. Join the bends do not match the strips, and their actual matching will have to continue above the doors, above and below the windows. Using part of full width strips are very wasteful. Paper ceilings. Because shorter strips are easier handling, ceiling strips are always hung across the room rafter lengthwise. It's best to do ceilings before walls. Mark the guidelines along a ceiling to assure the first strip parallels with the starting wall. Cut, paste, and fold. Fold as for walls, adding about 2 inches of ceiling measurement. Unfold the top end of the paste strip and lifting the ceiling supporting strip. Fold other end and roll the paper. Allow 1 inch overlap at the end. Trim surplus according to whether the pattern will go way down only part of the way to the molding. Use same pattern on the wall of the ceiling at advantage of the main entrance opposite of the room. Narrow side pattern can then be hung so it seems continuing up and across the ceiling, adding the room apparent height. Some papers go up the wall across the ceiling, but not down the opposite wall because definite right side up designs such as flowers on stems. Renovating ceilings with tiles. Tile with the first easy of the attractive. Tile is a fast, easy, attractive way of transforming all unsightly ceilings. Standard file tile sizes are 12 by 12, 12 by 24, 24 by 24, 24 by 48. Large sizes are made with a commercial UV call with the panels rather than tiles. Most tiles are made with a 5x3 with the fire resistance. They also have the tile panel with a completely fire-proof materials. Ceiling tiles may be installed with either way or two-way. The direct application with ceilings materials fasten furnishing strip with existing ceilings with staples and special ceiling tile cement. Grid system is a metal grid suspended from the ceiling with a panel slip place. Without the special fastening, can be lifted out with the cleaning of the replacement for access pipe. The wiring, this ideal with when they are exposed pipe, the wires, ducts, joists, shoes, damaged ceilings. Before doing any work, lay out the design scale on paper to mark openings, light fixtures over the obstruction relay with the unit side of the material layout. Borders should be the same size all around. Fraction of the course need to be complete with a ceiling appropriation, half on each side. Pattern design must be considered with buying an insulation style. Some of the permanent checkerboard insulation went over the pattern, running with the same with the way for the end. Such tiles must be installed contrast with match adjacent patterns and random patterns that can be installed any way you wish. Requires tools few and simple regardless of the tile application method of the everyday items: hammer, nails, chalk line, sharp knife, stapling gun. If you plan to mount the tiles directly on the ceiling, you need 1x3 furning strips. When you buy the suspended grid tiles, the grids comes in the title order. Applying tiles to the ceiling. If there's no existing ceiling, it is unfinished basement of the ceiling, badly cracked, damaged. 1x3 furnishing strips installed with the right angles, joints of the rafters. Install the first strip furnishing where the wall ceiling meets location. The second depends on the width of the border tile. Space the second style strip of the strapping edge of the border tile center of the work on it, working across the ceiling with the second strip installed on the parallel furnishing strip. 12 inches from center. 12 by 24 inch tiles are space strip of the expenditure work. The next to the last strip the same distance of the wall. Second strip last is nailed flush against the net wall. Start the insulation corner cut boards tile previously determined. Make sure the stapling edges of tile face in the center of the room. Apply the first tile space. Staple in place face and face nail as a wall. Leave the small space between the first tile and the wall for possible movement. Molding will cut cover it. Be sure the tongue and the groove edges fit together snugly. Do not force them. Work across the room installing 2 border tiles at a time, filling in them with full-size tiles, keeping stapling edges out. Make sure all joints are consistently straight, and sound ceilings that tiles may be cemented directly existing surfaces. Installing suspended ceilings. Suspended ceilings, also known as drop ceilings, are often used with lower modernized existing ceilings covered with a damaged ceiling with a height exposed to plumbing or wiring joists. Before starting installation work, sketch the diagram ceiling indicating each of the panel lighting fixture of the graph paper to lighting 1 square foot equal to 1 square foot. Suspended ceiling panels for the home use come in 2 size 2 by 2 by 2 by 4 feet. Several patterns. Keep it in mind with the decorative effects of the possible to keep in an installation. For example, where you can make long, narrow rooms seem more expensive than installing rectangular panel perpendicular to the length of the room. The lighting fixture that shows the panel planed at a time, indicating the sketch is also of the time balance of the board. For instance, if the room is 15 feet wide, there are 2 4 by 4 foot panels, 2 with 1.5 foot board panels. Board panels on the side of the room will always be equal. The grids of each of the ceiling panels, rest of the white are white, but there is no reason you cannot paint them. One important advantage of suspending ceiling is that you can have access to the pipes wiring without having to tear down the tiles. You can just slide them out of the grids. Installing recessed fixtures. Another advantage of suspended ceilings is easement with installing light fixture for the insert with a flux of translucent panels. Some of the opening for the light fixture will show through the soft lighting of the room, and the panels arranged in the levered egg-crated styles. Planing white frosted panels can be placed whenever they please. Lighting can be located at about every work center in the room where the planned seating arrangement. And small rooms such as bathrooms can even illuminate the entire ceiling, flooding the room with light. Fluorescent lighting is generally employed in suspended ceilings, recessed incandescent lamp fixture ceiling tile systems. The recessed units, the same size standard tiles, are set in the ceiling and place a single tile. They may be located wherever the light is needed. Never use a bulb higher wattage than recommended with a fixture manufactured to avoid chilly outdoor light. In effect, for the ordinary fluorescent tubes, the kind most frequently sold use warm white light type of produced light, much than incandescent lights. New light fixtures, the grid type ceilings, are attached directly to the grids, not to the ceiling, thus avoiding gray interference problems with the pipes and ducts. Fixtures can now be mounted flush with the ceiling panels and below them. Alright, wall coverings. Wall paneling materials. Today, homeowners have the different interior wall surface materials, achieving them the area thickness of a minute fraction of the inch of the wallpaper to almost an inch of the solid wood boards. Actually, material possibility is limited only with the imagination of the decorator. In addition, with the conventional wall material, solid wood, plywood, hardboard, gypsum board, ceramic tile, plaster. You will find plastic laminates, fiber glass panels, corrugated plastic panels, stone brick veneers, polystyrene panels, metal sheets. Three-dimensional vinyl reproduction. 2 lists of the partial section 341 fully describe the wallpapers and other wall covering materials followed the description of so-called red types. Solid wood paneling materials offer an infinite variety of grain patterns from plain pine to elegant and polished hardwoods. Among wood panels for the natural aesthetic of the fact with the increase of the beauty with the effect of the insulator against the heat of noise. Besides interior types of the tug and groove boards, exterior forms can be used as well. Even beveled siding of the finding of the place of the home, often single wall contrast paint with a wallpaper on the other walls. Interior planking varies in thickness between 3/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. Width of the 3 by 12 inches comes the lengths of about 8 feet. Solid panel, major disadvantage costs. Most hardwoods, walnut, oak, cherry, mahogany, are rather expensive, especially when they are purchased pure-free finished. Solid softwoods are redwood, knotty, pine, and western red cedar cost less. Plywood, but its offering a variety of veneers, textured plywood. Wood panels have the advantage of being non-splitting, resistant, warping, easily to install. Plywood also fair insulating, sounding, absorbing qualities, and impart structural rigidity when properly installed. Plywood comes faced with many of the fine hardwood, civil textures, softwoods, many other hardwood panel surface factory finished panel width range from 16 inches to to 4 feet, 4¼ inch thickness. Most popular wall work is and usually installed with one of the following methods. Contact type cement can be used to secure plywood panels in place. No panels needed, but the method is recommended with the pre-finished panels. The clip method made so possible to nail and yet concealed nail heads between the panel. If it is of course possible to nail directly through the panel into the studs of furniture stripped and suitable with the textured woods nailing the mar furnishing pre-finished panels. For another variation of V-plank panels, here is the random V-grooves arranged so that they are grooved in every 16 inches of center. Driving the nails through the V-groove does not mar the panel's finish. It is easy to conceal nail heads. Pre-finished hardboard. The prefabricated fabricated sheets of tough and moisture resistant, won't crack and split, with a baked down finished vinyl face types available. The many colored variety of patterns, some kind of a simulating polished hardwood veined marble. Nearly all factory finished hardboard panels come in the same 4x8 sheets and 1/4 inch thick. Many brands come in a board ordered from 6 to 10 feet in length. A few come in 60-inch wide planks for paneling walls. Sheet hardboard is supplied with a cementing and nailing it, or screwing over the solid backing studs and furniture strips. Perforated hardboards are so popular with the display backgrounds, tools, utensil racks make handsome wall coverings. While using type of the hardboard, spacing frame members 16 inches apart with a painted back stimulate the whole hollow space of the support may be grooved in line holes falls into the insertion brackets. Insulation wallboards. Insulation type wallboards are extremely lightweight, to make it easy to handle. The surface can be textured and be any pre-finished color of the house. Of the application possibility of the almost unlimited because of their insulating properties may often substituted for the other types of insulation. Though insulation wallboards are easily marred, walls are rarely object to the puncture shocks. While possibilities do exist, the boards can be applied with a hard surface of the insulating wallboard insulated over the furniture, stripped and directly over the rough framing. The board as secured with the nails and staples through the tongues. Gypsum wallboard, still one of the most widely used wall material of the product, consists of gypsum core sandwiched with between layers, especially true of the paper. Provides the ideal surface for the paint or for wallpaper or other wall coverings. Is also available. The colorful vinyl surface is stimulated with wood grain as well with the textured patterns that do not require additional decoration. Plastic laminates, but this will give you the wall with the same rugged surface that you give the plastic laminated countertop laminates available with a wide range of surface. They include with the texture of the wood grain, the solid colors with the more distinctive pattern, with the more resistant almost everything. The panels, especially practical with the high abuse areas, it comes in 24 to 60 inches width with 6 to 12 foot length and 1/32 inch thickness, generally tough enough that the walls must be applied with a course to a backing of some kind, plywood, hardboard, gypsum wallboard with contact cement. Fiberglass panels. These panels, several of the colors offer very degrees light transmission made with a sheet of the corrugated light sheet metal flat sheets popular with the outdoor wall but have indoor use as well. While they can be applied with the coverings, better use for them as the actual walls. Sure, the dividers are partial of the panels of bridge enough that they require support only at the top and the bottom. Polyester panels are similar to the many respects with the fiberglass, except they are intended primarily for the interior insulation. They come in several designs to create with a stained glass effect. Cork for the walls generally available. The tiles of 6 by 12, 12 by 24, and 24 by 48 inches. 3 thicknesses from 1/8 of an inch to 5/16 of an inch. They come in light dark brown. They may be intermixed and in range of the tone of the factory finished. Cork is fixed to the walls adhesive. Other materials, there are other rigid material that can be employed with the wall covering. For example, possible to cover the wall, floor, or ceilings of the mirrors of either panel of the tiles. Metal sheets available to various designs. Several finishes can also be used to achieve special features effects on the wall. These also new type of paneling, such as particle boards. The compressed panels may be made of wood, flakes, and chips bonds to give it a special synthetic resin, especially for 8-foot sheets of thickness and with 3/8 by 3/4 inch. This paint must other woods finish very well and are installed with the same other rigid panel types. Brick veneer. Real brick veneer vinyl brick is installed with the same way, starting with the top of the applying mastic wall with a trowel. Several minutes for the ensure the brick will still stay there. This is placed slightly damp in the back of the brick with water and press it with the mastic side-to-side motion. Both brush the motion side the brick into the mastic force of the mastic behind with the make of the mortar joint. All allow 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch between the bricks. When sticking comes to each carton Smooth the mortar or areas between the bricks and stick with it. Also, acts as 3/8 spacer. Cut real brick veneer across, score back with a hacksaw. Place the face down on the counter and score the line, edge, and snap. Stone veneer. Stone multi-neglected interior building material that can be added, richness, beauty of the home easily with a packed stone veneer with 3/4 inch thick and applied with the thread over the old walls. Metal clips and screws. These clips fit the grooves on the top and the bottom edge of the stone and the shearing into the wall, providing proper spacing between the stones. Joints between the stones are filled with a mortar mix of 1 part cement, 2 parts sharp sand, just enough that's watered and fairly stiff, and the old paintbrush wide edge stone before filling the joints. When the mortar starts to set, tool the joints around the stick of the dowel, remove the excessive mortar stones with a soft brush. Alright, plastic wall covering is another popular type of wall covering, though not rigid. The heavy plastic that comes in 54-inch rolls. Material should not be confused with vinyl-coated wallpaper. The most thicker would require a special technique application shown on the right. Heavy grade material similar with the vinyl with the upholstery material formerly used only with the shown stores and office, but it is available to residential use, especially suitable for the covering cracked plaster walls application. Over painting walls for old wallpaper should be removed first. This material may be scrubbed repeatedly without affecting the texture of the color. However, it does require special application. Surface preparation. Before planning the result of the job, determining whether the existing tiles mount on the surface of the wall, surface the such of the wallboard, plywood tile encased in the plaster, later installation known as the mud job retiling, the tile of the wood complexity task should be left to the professional. If the mud job tiles surface sound, however, you can tile directly over it. The tile applied over the solid surface of the wallboard, hardwood, plywood. Be sure surface material exterior grade following pre-tile treatments for the recommended plaster. A new plastered surface must be allowed to cure for at least a month before tiling. When a wall is made of old plaster, make certain that it is perfectly sound, patching any crumbling areas, seal with a new patch of shellac paint. Either remove the old paint or scratch at least 50% of the paint surface to epoxy suitable clean base tile. Wallboards, plasters, sheetrock, rock, lath, and gypsum boards, all of these materials provide ideal surface tiling, but they must be properly supported with no movement of warping can be taking place. Fasten these boards 12-inch intervals for the 3/8-inch thick boards and 16-inch intervals between these boards 1/2 inch thick. Plywood ceramic tiles should be installed over the plywood that must be waterproof exterior grade, do not use the interior grade. Tools for tiling. You should have the following tools when available to down tiling works. The trowel may be with the notches one edge smooth with the other. The tile cutter scriber with a tungsten carbide type. Most efficient tool cutting tiles. Glass can be used with a very ductile type. Quickly tip tile nippers. Possible the carbide tip tile nippers, especially for the purpose you can use a pair of ordinary pliers, pinchers. Rubber surfaced trowel. Use the tool for grouting and eventually with the one hand with the grounding. Stones, timber, plumbing line, carpenter's level the joint, striking tool with toothbrush handle, small trowel, mixing grout, large string handles. Estimating tile finding and adjoining type of the number of the tiles required, the length of the height with the area with the covered, multiplying the two. Example the length of the 10.5 feet by 30 tiles with the height of the 9 feet 12 6 tile 30 by 26 equals 780. The total need to subtract the number of tiles that would cover the doors and windows. Add the dozen tile with a possible break. Additional 4 1/4 inch tiles. You will need to trim the inside of the outside corners, cap and base. You can mesh base time special come out with the use of the two walls. Measure them separately. Most of them come in 6-inch lengths. Mastic, 1 gallon of waterproof wall tile. Mastic adhesive will cover the 50 square feet. Grout, 1 pound of after mixing will cover approximately 18 square feet. Installation procedure. Key of professional looking ceramic tile. Started doing the work. Stand off the area, square it off area of the room. Do not have perfectly square area. Do not have perfectly square areas indicated with an exaggerated diagram below. For the first step, mark off the square area in such a way that the fraction tile with the corner edges are approximately the same size. With the mark off the square area, find the first lowest point of the wall of the tiling with an example low point of the bathtub from the corner of the draw line for front horizontal line full tile height with the tub line. Use a piece of scrap wood 3/16 36 to 48 inches length with a mark up the tile measuring stick and lay the stick on the wall. Shift the back forth to determine the starting point, laying the tiles over the equal width of the fraction tile with the left at the end of each row. Both ends horizontal line, drawn vertically, lines forming a squared off area. To take the tile application, use the fastened bastion walls on the outside with draw lines. Use trowel, spread the mastic over an approximately 3 by 3 foot area with a wall notch over the form ridge, mastic pressing harder against the surface of the ridges with the same height with the notch of the tools. Starting tile at with the vertical lines of the tile half of the wall at the time, working horizontal rows. Press each tile with a mastic. Do not slide them else on the estimated force edge of the surface. After each course is applied, check with the level of the spreading. More mastic line with a crooked view. Remove all the tiles lines. Apply with the fresh ones. Not use remove tiles until the mastic has been cleaned off. Finish tile mating areas before retire fitting edge tiles. Grouting. All the mastic set for 24 hours before applying grout. Follow the manufacturer missing instruction closely. Rubber surface trowel with the spread grout over the tile surface. Work the trowel without an arc, holding the slide against the slight angle that the grout is forced into the space between the files. When the grout becomes dry, with the wipe access from the tiles dry with a damp rag. After the grout is thoroughly dry, rinse the wall. Wipe it with a clean towel. Alright, mosaic floor tiles. Mosaic floor tiles. Alright, we'll cut the tape there.